Hi, and welcome back to the CX Toolbox. Today we're going to be diving into the Dubsado forms and specifically some design hacks for website designers, but these also can be used for anybody using Dubsado. It doesn't just need to be website designers. So when you sign up for Dubsado, they don't tell you that actually out of the box, the forms aren't exactly the best. If you're a website designer, your proposals and contracts are basically like your shop window. You wouldn't want to actually leave a website looking half finished, so you want your forms to be absolutely rocking, and they are going to basically sell for you. So don't panic, we've got you. We're going to walk through the 10 hacks with actual copy paste code over in the blog that will make your Dubsado forms look like a proper mini website, like your website, instead of, kind of default hell. So let's dive over to the first hack. The biggest thing that you can do with your Dubsado forms is actually to add your brand fonts, because it instantly makes your proposals feel part of your brand. And Dubsado lets you use custom CSS and HTML, so take advantage of that as a website designer. And if you don't want the hassle, then we actually have this product, which is the font uploader service. And basically you can just purchase this. It's just £35 and we will upload your custom fonts for you. But let's go back over to adding your fonts. So if you are using Google or Adobe fonts, it's actually super duper easy to install your fonts. Whereas if you're using more custom paid fonts, so there's a bit of a workaround. You will need to get your font URL, which is hosted on your website, into the edit CSS section. So if you go over to form styling and you go to edit CSS, this is where you'll be able to paste in your code. So you just copy it to the clipboard and then you can go over to your edit CSS section and you can just paste this in. So what you'll have to do in here is just customize some of the CSS. So you will have to customize some of the CSS. Obviously, you need to add in your font family, but the rest of it, you can leave it as it is, or you can change the things. So I'm just going to go through a couple of things now. So you've got your font size. So with Clamp, it just means that this size is going to be your mobile size, and this size is going to be your desktop size. So you'll see if we now add it to 20 pixels, it will now change the font size to 20 pixels. And we've also got line height. So if you wanted it to be more spacing in between, you can change the line height. We've got your font. So if you're using a font that was in Dubsado, so they have a couple of fonts that are in here, which obviously they've got Play Fair Display. You can also see here the selection of fonts that they have. So you can code this in. So all of your paragraph text now will be Play Fair Display. Then we've got font style, which you can change to italics. But mainly it'll be set to normal. And you've got your font color. So if you wanted to change this, your font color, so you can change it to a gray. You can paste in your hex code, and then also we've got letter spacing. So you would go through and customize all of these. So what I think is the best thing to do is just add some text so you can see each one, and then just highlight over it. So this is going to be your heading 1, and then you've got your heading 2, then you've got your heading 3, then you've got your heading 3, and then heading 4, and your paragraph on. So you can kind of customize this in real time, and then you'll actually be able to see. So a couple of things. If you want to upload your Google fonts, this is really easy. All you have to do is go over to Google Fonts and just select a font that's obviously not being used in Dubsado. So we could select this random crazy one here, select Get Font, Get Embed Code, and then you have the @import. So all you have to do is, without the style tags, copy this, go back over to your CSS, and I like to put this at the top. You can paste this in. And then where it says font family, you can literally just copy this, go back over to your Dubsado form, and where it says font family, you would just paste, let's just do heading 1, you would paste this in. And there we go. So adding fonts and adding Google Fonts and Adobe Fonts is exactly the same process. If you are using a paid font on your website, you can inspect the code, and you can also go to, so if you right click and then you go inspect and then you go to sources, you will actually be able to find the font file in here, and you will be able to grab the URL of that font. Another way of doing it is to actually host your font in Dubsado. So to be able to do this, I'm just going to save this quickly. So to be able to do this, I suggest going and creating a new project. So this can be just put fonts and then just create this. Once you've created the project, you can go to the Forms tab and go one-time questionnaires. Then all you just need to do is add a file uploader, save it and close it, go back out and then go into View and Open. And this will open the form. And then your font files, I want you to, first of all, go over to Transfonter, and we're just going to convert them because you may not have the right font files. So I don't have them at the moment because I'm just using this one as a testing, and I want to convert them to the WOFF and WOFF2, and then press convert. Once your zip file has downloaded, just open this and then drag the 2 files in there. So you're going to have a demo, then the 2 files, and then the style sheet. So I just want you to go back over to the questionnaire and drag these fonts into here. So now what you need to do is go back over to that zip file that you had with the transfonter.org and just open up the style sheet. And this is going to give you the code that you will want to paste into your form. Go back over to your form and then you go to form styling, edit CSS, then you can paste in the font face code that is given you. So now what we need to do is replace the font files, the URLs here. So we're going to go back over to the form, and you're going to first of all grab the Wolf 2. So we're going to go right click, copy image address. It's about the 6th one down. And this is going to give you the URL for that font file, and then you're just going to paste it in here, and then we're going to go back and we're going to do the same for the Wolf file. So we're going to go copy link address, go back over and then paste in here. And then the final thing that you need to do is make sure that your font is linking to the right font family. So we're going to copy the font family, and I'm going to now make this the font family for heading 2. So you'll now see that heading 2 will change. And obviously, as I'm using a demo font, it's got this trial font thing here. So obviously don't ever use that one, but this is just for an example. So that is also how to upload a custom font into Dubsado. So you can use first of all, the transponder to add your fonts, make sure you convert to the right font files, then download, get the style sheet, upload the fonts onto your Dubsado questionnaire form, then copy the link address and put them in the font face code, and that's how you host fonts. Also, obviously, the Google way and Adobe way is a lot easier, as you only have to paste in this, but that is one way to make your fonts on brand in Dubsado. The second hack that I love in Dubsado is have everything in containers. You will see within our proposal design that we sell for website designers, which is the Studio Z, you will see that every single thing will be in a container. And the reason that I love containers is because you don't always have to do everything within code. You can set the container to the width, the content width, the background color. And also the one thing that I love is adding the padding So it's not responsive, unfortunately. So you can only do padding for top and bottom on desktop, and it will be the same for mobile. So it will still be 80 pixels. I like to add padding for around 80 to 100 pixels on top and bottom within the containers, just to give it a bit of breathing space. So I'm just going to walk you through how to do this and add containers now. So you can go to add element, container, then set this to 100% container width. You can then put it as one column, and you can set the content width to whatever you want it to be. I usually do it around 60 and 70 because that makes it better on all screen sizes. Then you can add your hex code, so you can paste it in here, whatever your hex code is, and then add your padding, so you can put 100 pixels top and bottom, and then from here is where you can add in your text, your images, and you can add any of the modules that they have within Dubsado. By using containers, this also allows you to duplicate the content within inside the containers. So you can add multiple containers. You can also move things around as well once you've done the containers. So it's really handy to use the containers as well. You can add container within container. So if you added the one and then you wanted to add two within that, and then you can add images within these. So it just gives you more control over your designing within the Dubsado proposal and questionnaires as well. Talking about containers, our third hack is adding a portfolio gallery into your proposal. So you can do this the non-coded way, which would be to add an element. I would add a container. Again, put this as 100% width, 100% container width and content width, and then put this as a number of columns. So 4 would be a good amount. And then you can just put your images in here. I would just make sure that if you are doing it this way, that all the images are the same size, and you should resize them. You can use Canva, or you can use another website for a resizing tool. Otherwise, if they're different sizes, they're just going to look a bit weird. So by using the 4-column container, it just means that you're not going to get any padding either side. So if you wanted to have spacing either side, then what I would suggest is putting another container within this, and then you can put it down to 1, and you can then use the margins. So you can use, instead of padding, you can use margin right, margin left, and then add the image in, and then it will create this margin either side. And then you can duplicate this and you can drag and drop it over to each of the sections, and it will create that spacing either side. You might even want less than that, depending on how you want it to look. Just be known that this will not be Flexbox. It will stack on tablet and on mobile. But over on our Dubsado proposal, we have this gallery slider, which you can customize to sizing, how many slides per view. Obviously, this is kind of like an upgraded version, but you can just use this version and play around with the sizing and the spacing of the containers for your portfolio adding a gallery. So hack number 4 for designing your Dubsado forms is to add a cool infinite scrolling text banner, like a marquee text banner. This isn't like a native thing in Dubsado. This is code, but we do actually offer this code snippet over on our resources page on our website, which I'll link down below in the comments as well in the description. But you can click download now. It will take you through to the landing page, and you will be able to get this really cool Notion board where you can copy the code and you can instantly just quickly add a container into your form. It's so easy to customize this. Add 100% content width. You can add the background color of your brand color. Then you can just put a HTML code block, paste this in, and you will be able to customize the background color, the text, the icon, everything in here, which is really easy. And we do also go through tutorials on how to customize the HTML and the CSS for this. So I will link this landing page to download this within the comments below. So the next hack that we absolutely love is creating the Parallax scroll for desktop. Unfortunately, you can't do this on mobile or tablets. On mobile and tablet, it will be a static image, but on desktop, you can create this really cool parallax effect. We've got this code pasted in our blog post, so you'll be able to go over and grab this by copying to clipboard and then going over to your form and simply going into form styling, edit CSS, and then down the bottom, you can paste this in. So now what this will do is if we add, let's just add a background image to this and reset this. So let's just put this one as background image and now save it and preview. Then you'll see it will add this parallax effect on desktop to any background image that you put within a container. And we absolutely love this because it just means that you don't have to custom code every single section that you want parallax. It just does it for you. So that is one of our main hacks that we love. The next hack that I really like as well is adding a background opacity within the containers. If you go down and you select a background color, then I'm going to go for this dark color because I'm going to make this text white to make it pop. Then if you go down to background image opacity, you can then kind of turn this down and make it darker. And then you can go into the text section with the formatting, hover over it, go formatting options, go to colors, and then you can change this to white. You can center align it. You've got the options within here to control this. And then you can click save and now preview, and you'll see that it will be a darker opacity so you can see the text. So you can play around with this percentage down underneath the images here. And you can also add more padding if you want. If it was like a testimonial section that you just wanted to add some text to make it stand out, then now you'll see that this will really pop. Okay, so one thing that you'll notice as a web designer and in any Dubsado forms that the buttons are so basic. The buttons by default will look like this for the package buttons, and I just think that they need a bit of an extra zazz to make them pop for people to actually see them because they just kind of blend into everything. So over on our blog post, we've got some CSS that we can just run through to kind of customize these package buttons just to make them stand out a bit. So if you go over to our blog post, you'll be able to copy this to clipboard and then again go over to form styling, edit CSS and paste this in the bottom. So we can go through this real time. So the first one is the package button unselected, so how it looks. So there's a couple of lines of CSS code that you'll want to add in here, and the main one will be background color. So let's make this, for instance, black. So now you'll see the button is black. The next thing that you will want to add is a bit of padding, because for me that button is a bit small. So I'm going to put padding and it's going to be 12 pixels top and bottom and then 35 pixels either side. So already this button is looking much better. Then the next thing is we want to add the color. So I'm going to make the color of the text white so we can actually see it. And then I also want the text to be slightly bigger because I can't really see that. So I'm going to do font size and I'm going to make it clamp. So it's going to be 16 pixels on mobile and then I'm going to do 18 pixels on desktop, so it's bigger. And the next thing is I want it to be square. It's got this border radius by default that Dubsado puts on it. So I'm going to do border radius 0 pixels and then put an exclamation mark important. And it also puts this kind of grey border on it. So I'm just going to do border 1 pixel solid black, which is the same color. So there you have it. The button is looking a lot more easier to select now that you can see it properly. Then we have also the package button unselected on hover. So when somebody comes onto the button and they hover over it, it will then change on hover when you edit that CSS. And then we have the package button when it's selected. So maybe you want it to be a different color when it's selected. Finally, we have the code that it adds text after onto the end of whatever text is in here. So if you wanted to change this text from select to something, maybe put I want this. Then within the code, instead of select and then ed at the end, you could put something like yes. When they select this now, it will change to I want this, yes. So you can see. So you can customize that text to whatever you want it to be. You can change the button text. You can change it to add something afterwards to let them know that they have selected it. It's just a great way to make the buttons pop and to kind of reinforce your brand a little bit as well. Another kind of a hack that we love to use for Dubsado proposals is to create this fixed navigation bar at the bottom. And when they select the package, it will add the total and it will add submit and next. So it's just fixed at the bottom so they can see when it's totaling up how much it costs and easily click on it to take them through to the contract and submit it, rather than in Dubsado it is like this. So you won't see it until they have to scroll all the way to the bottom. It's just a bad user experience, really. You have to scroll all the way to the bottom to see what the total is and be able to submit it. It just makes it kind of front of mind to keep it there. So if you want to add a fixed submit bar, we do have the code over on our blog, so you'll be able to copy to clipboard, and then you'll be able to go over to edit form, go through to edit CSS. You can scroll down to the bottom and paste in this code. So this will create the fixed bar and this will create the color of the footer. So we can make this, for instance, black. Let's just say black. This will create that fixed submit bar. You can also customize the buttons. We have that CSS class within the blog post if you want to customize the submit bar. So when you select the text, you'll also need to make sure that you have changed the color of the text so you can see it. But this just creates that fixed bar at the bottom, which we love to use on our Dubsado proposal templates. Next hack is to customize the proposal contract and invoice top bar. So by default, we can show you that the top bar will look like this with this line underneath. So if you add your, I'm just going to add the contract and the invoice and then go to preview, and you'll see it will now have the proposal, contract and invoice. But we just like to use a bit of CSS on ours to make the text change color on hover. We do have ours as a transparent background, but I'm just going to show you now with this code how to transform it to change your text, change the color on hover, and create a background color here as well. So if you just go over to the blog post and you copy to clipboard this text, go to edit CSS, and then you'll be able to scroll to the bottom and paste this in. And then I'm just going to go through here. So you won't see it on the back end when you're designing. You will have to preview, or you can open in a new tab and view it that way by putting Dubsado public form view here and then using the final ID code there. So you'll be able to use that to see the form. But what this is doing is it's adding some padding either side. The background color is changing to black. So if you wanted it to be, let's just do a gray color maybe. And then you've got the text. So you've got the proposal, contract and text color. So you can put your font here. You'll be able to change it to whatever font that you want. So I'm going to put play display, because I know that that one is the one in Dubsado. You've got letter spacing. Also, you've got the font size on mobile and then on desktop. So I'm going to make this slightly bigger because I know play display can look quite small on desktop. Then you've got your text transform. So you can do like uppercase, you can do none, you can do capitalize. So I'm going to put this as uppercase is obviously all caps, so I'm going to do capitalize. And then you've got the text color as white because we're using a kind of darker color. And then on hover, you can change the text color here as well. If you go to preview, you'll see it's got this dark color, and then you can hover over and you'll see it will go slightly darker with the other color. Also, if you want to remove the line, we have the code in the blog for that as well. But you can see now it's changed the text to play fair display, and it changes color on hover. Final hack that we absolutely love is just to have, and we love to use this in our questionnaires as well, is to have this fixed navigation that drops down anchor links into each section. So this is great for large questionnaires where you have a ton of questions and sections for them to complete. But here we love it, so we can just drop down to the scope of work, we can drop down to testimonials, and it's just great for user experience. We have two different styles for the sticky navigation menu for Dubsado. So we've got one that includes social media icons, and we've got another one that just has the text and the logo, which is the one that we're using in the proposal that I just showed you now. And we have two different options. So the one that we are using within this proposal is without social media icons, and then we've got another one that does come with social media icons. So there you go, 10 hacks to make your Dubsado forms look amazing. If you want any shortcuts, check out the links below for our pre-made snippets and templates. And if you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which hack you're trying first. See you next time inside the CX Toolbox.